starting this video kind of at the end of the trip. We're on another road trip, and here I'm in a place called Hot Springs, Arkansas Village. So it's in Hot Springs area, but it's the village, and it's in a national forest, and as you can see, it's gorgeous. We're looking over a lake here in this beautiful Airbnb, and it really is quite the experience. So I wanted to share my journeys with you because they're turning out to be so meaningful to my family, and I thought maybe you'd enjoy them as well. So one of the things we're doing as our grandkids are getting older, we're starting to take usually one grandkid at a time on a road trip with us, and during that road trip we let them join our world, and we get to join their world, and we become a lot closer, and it's just a wonderful thing, and I'm so glad we're getting to have these experiences. Now, the goal is always to chase a classic car, maybe bring it back home. Usually we do, and this time we're going to. And this time we found a 240Z, a 72 240Z. Now, Beth and I, the gal behind the camera, and my wife, love of my life, we had a 73 240Z when we got married. So this car has a lot of memories for us. I'm passionate about those cars like a lot of people are. So one of the things I love about these trips and experiences is the people we get to meet. You know, it's not just a wonderful experience with my grandchildren and with my wife, but it's the people we get to meet and the history we get to learn about on these cars. And in this case, so the seller is a guy named Ed. His wife's name is Rose. He's had this car for 48 years, basically the sole caretaker since new. And that's an incredible thing. And I love that. I love when a car still has its soul. This car's still original. I mean, it's untouched. It got a real nice respray, and it's beautiful, but it's otherwise completely original. So I asked Ed on the phone before I met him, Ed, do you have any historical material, any documentation, pictures of you when you were young with the car, anything at all? And he goes, you know, I wasn't really romantic about the car. I didn't save things like that, and you know, it's before digital photography, so we all understand that. So I don't have much, he says, but if I have anything, it's with the car. The car was in a storage building, or is in a storage building with his RV that they've traveled the United States with. Well, as it turns out, Ed had a lot of history and documentation with the car, including the original sales documentation, which is and all the factory documentation and some factory manuals. So it was pay dirt, and I was really happy to get that. And shortly I'm going to go and actually collect the car, hook up to the trailer, load the 240Z, and we're going to complete our trip. And we may find one more adventure to experience before we get home, but I want to share some of my adventures with you in this video, and I want to encourage you. I don't know where you're at in life. You might not even have kids. You might have kids. You might be a grandparent, but I want to encourage you to join the world of those around you. Don't take them for granted. Have experiences with them. Go out of your way to have experiences with them. It'll enrich everybody's life concerned. So we're going to continue with our road trip to Little Rock, Arkansas area to pick up a 1972 240Z, and I hope you enjoy this experience. We've had a lot of activity within a very short period of time, and it's all been great. All right, if you'd like to come along, come along. Thank you. Well, it's you know, a unique time. It's COVID-19, and so I'm wearing a mask, and it's mainly for my new friend Ed here. Ed is the 48-year owner of this car we're fixing to go look at, and I'm amazed by that. And so he's been the long-term caretaker, and I guess, Lord willing, I'll be a long-term caretaker, but it's over here stored in this storage building. Ed and his wife Rose are real travelers. I guess you guys have been over the whole U.S.?
We've driven all but Hawaii.
All but Hawaii. And they've been doing it. How long have you guys been doing it, Ed?
Well, we lived in a motorhome for 14 years.
Okay, they lived out of their motorhome for 14 years. I understand that. You know, I think a lot of people are starting to understand that concept. Younger people even are starting to try to figure out how to live life differently. And that certainly is living it differently. So here we are at the storage building that contains both their latest motorhome. They've downsized from a 40-foot diesel to a 28-foot, and it's there in the back. And there's the 1972 240Z that almost every mile on that has been put on by Ed himself. And I love that. I love this history. And fortunately, Ed, who didn't claim to have a lot of documentation because he wasn't 100% sure, had a lot of documentation. And so that helped. And so we're going to take it back to Texas and enjoy it. So this is part of the process. This is the work part of this otherwise little vacation I'm on. So let's get started. Ed, I'm smiling right now, just to let you know that. So you can't see that through this mask, but
We can tell just by the glimmer in your voice.
okay. All right. Okay, so there it is, a 1972 240Z. Okay, well, no problem starting it. Started right up. I'm wearing this mask for Ed's benefit. He's had heart surgery recently and has other issues, so this COVID-19 has people like that really concerned. So I'm being considerate to that concern. But boy, is this a pain. Like gloves and everything. It's loaded. It's humid. I'm hot and sweaty. I think Ed's doing pretty good over there. And
I'm just relaxing.
he's just relaxing. I think Ed's probably figured out how to live a life of relaxation. Although you played tennis up until how recently?
January.
Played tennis in January. Oh my gosh, how old are you, Ed?
84.
84, okay. You hear that, people? Depending on your genes and the way you lived your life, you too can live life at 84. All right, well, yeah, I'm out of shape. All right, let's button this thing up.
Keep dancing with the devil, but it is alive.